Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Blatstein, the physician founder of Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. Today, I'm going to review the nuances that are not usually part of a traditional legal defense. And that is the amount of effort that you need to do in preparing for your pre-sentence interview. It's probably more important than your first date you ever had before you got married. It's the most important meeting of your life. Here's why. Judges understand the following. Department of Justice, they want the conviction. The prosecutor wants you to go to prison. Your attorney is paid to say nice things about you, but the only person they know nothing about is you. And so, what I'm going to do is try and walk you through. You can prepare to have your first meeting with your probation officer and the judge where it can hopefully work in your favor to get a sentence reduction. I've had it happen most of the time. One time we had, you never can tell what side of the bed the judge is going to get out of that day. Hopefully, your attorney knows the judge or knows the judge's reputation before you get into any of this, because there's no guarantees what the judge is going to do. You can have your prosecutor and your attorney agree that you should deserve X amount of time, but your judge can do whatever the judge wants to do. And if they have a bad day, you're not going to be on, you have nothing going in your favor. So my goal here is to help change that. So you can affect potentially, no guarantees, but a reduction in a sentence or the number of months. It's not going to happen all the time, but it does happen. And with that, the judge is going to know that your attorney doesn't want you to go to prison, but the nuances of the law is the judge's part. Is your attorney's part. Your part is understanding and preparing for your pre-sentence interview, which is the most important meeting you're going to have. And if you're prepared for that, then it's not going to be a surprise to you when the judge at sentencing asks you if you have anything to say. So I'm going to go ahead, and it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. You can be a drug dealer, you can be a CPA, you can be a crypto king, you can be a doctor or lawyer. It doesn't matter, because once you get past the guilty or innocent, and if you're guilty via plea or via trial, then it's up to you to make a good first impression with the probation officer who is interviewing you and the judge at sentencing. I'm going to share the screen, and we're going to share the screen. And right here we have three cases or three charges. One is a CPA, very well trained, that pled guilty. We have another businessman who admitted guilty to a COVID test, selling COVID test kits. But in addition to this, with COVID, there are those that get convicted of PPP loan fraud. And lastly, we're going to have this. This is a conspiracy regarding crypto, wire fraud. Anything can happen. And so this is why, and we'll start here. Preparing for your pre-sentence interview is most crucial. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the neighborhood. I'm a physician. I had a felony. Yes, I got my medical license back. But from judges who have been interviewed across the country, there's really a central theme that they all have. First, they all want to understand what happened to you. Do you understand what you did? Did you make a mistake? What happened in your life that brought you to this point? And this only comes from you taking the time with someone like myself, if you want to engage me, or someone else, to begin to put down your life story, a compelling autobiographical background of what happened in your life. And by the time you've taken to draft that and to write it, which can take a month or so, then you're ready when you get into the courtroom, when the judge asks you if you have anything to say. When I was in court, the judge asked me. I didn't even know the judge was going to talk to me. Federal judges, what federal judges want to know at sentencing? These are just, again, judges being interviewed. Judge Schultz, federal judge, said it's surprising how many otherwise competent attorneys punt at the sentencing hearing, where you're not prepared. How do you get prepared for that sentencing hearing? Judge Scalia advised lawyers in preparing early for the sentencing hearing, because 99% of federal clients are going to face sentencing and then go to federal prison, no matter how long or short that may be. And I think some of the best advice came from federal judge Mark Bennett, that if you can take the time and draft your autobiography, your story, your what happened to you in your life, and have all the other information that the probation officer needs, which they're going to give your lawyer, and it will take time for you to put this together. But if you could put all of this together, included into your personal story, autobiography, narrative, your judge is going to read this before you go to court. And Judge Mark Bennett thinks it's a great idea. And he came out and said it. And it's on my website where you can see his YouTube for his interview. But all of this is the nuances of this part of your legal defense is not taught in law school. A lot of lawyers know how to take the time and get this information from you. But they could be some of these lawyers are charging several hundred to thousands of dollars an hour. If they know and prepare you, then that's great. If they tell you it's not important to prepare, I'll bring you back here to Judge Schultz, who said it's surprisingly how many otherwise competent attorneys punt at the sentencing hearing. And the sentencing hearing, that starts long before you have your pre-sentence interview, because all of this information, if you have a medical record, that's another YouTube, but all of that is important, because if you're on certain medications, you go to prison and you haven't checked ahead of time that the drugs are available, well, then the prison is not going to care. And even if you verify their availability and it's in your pre-sentence report, they still may not give it to you, except at least now you have a baseline for later on via the courts. And so included in all this information, and there's a litany, it'll be old tax records, it's going to be diplomas, it's going to be your narrative, your autobiography, your story, what happened to you, the good and the bad parts. There'll be letters of support. And it's important. Judges want to see that. They want to see people that have known you for a long time. It doesn't have to be a senator. It can be a gardener. It can be a neighbor. It can be a religious individual, from your church or your mosque or your synagogue. All of that works good. If it can be from those that support you, if you have a significant other, and this is where you're going to live, that's an important letter saying that we love him and we want to take them back into our home. If you have someone who's willing to give you a job when you get out of prison, and nobody has a crystal ball, they can't promise it, but if they're willing to put it in writing that they've known you a long time, that's a great letter. If you own a business, you can't run a business from prison, but if you own a business that has nothing to do with your charge, you can work in that business when you get out. And you can get a letter from the person you put in as manager, or to take your place as president or whoever's running the business, and they can write the draft letter self-support saying that they've known you a long time, that they want you to come back and work in the business with them, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the job. Now there's more that goes into it than that. And so this is important, because understanding your preparation for the pre-sentence interview, just think about your probation officer. The judge depends on that officer to give them a placement and a sentencing recommendation based on who you are. They know nothing about you and they have to sit during the entire interview and get all this information out. Or if they email your lawyer and you a PDF document that they want you to fill out, don't fill it out the first time, because once it's on your record, it's there. Make a copy and begin planning how you're going to fill this out, because this will become a pre-sentence report, which is your life, and it's your counter in part to your charges or your indictment. Because right now, the Department of Justice, when they released your indictment and put it into the worldwide media, you don't look like the best person in the world. None of us did. The importance of the pre-sentence interview. You're going to leverage your attorney's experience. Attorneys know the law, and please do what they recommend. But not all of them have detailed experience, and they haven't been to prison. So they don't understand what's involved with day-to-day life in prison. What should you expect when you first get there? What do you do once you're in there regarding the administrative remedy process, or First Step Act, Second Chance Act, good time credits? How do you get off supervised release early, possibly? And how are you eligible for early release to home confinement? All of this is important. Effective preparation is that you want to organize all of your documents, make sure everything is spell checked. You want to compile all your support letters that show, who you are and your personal narrative, your autobiographical backstory of who you are. You want to make this great impression on the probation officer. And by you having all this information together, by the time you get to the sentencing hearing, if the judge wants to talk to you, you're now prepared to say something to the judge. And maybe, just maybe, they're able to go ahead and listen to you and take it to heart and feel that you're speaking from your heart. Honestly, you've accepted responsibility, have remorse for your actions and victims that you've created. This is on a page on my website. The sooner you act, the better. We go back to the first federal judge. You don't want to wait until the sentencing hearing. You need to prepare for this early on. My website is pprsus.com, physician prison consultants, physician presentence report service. My phone number, if you want to engage my services or talk to me, 240-888-7778. And then under the drop-down box, just go to preparation and drop down here. You do not want to be defined by your indictment. You need to present your judge, the court, and initially your probation officer with another version of who you are. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this today. Stay safe.